When choosing a dentist for our family, Tupelo Smiles was the answer.
As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham & Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham & Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Well, hello there. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon coming to you live here from North Pontotoc High School for Mississippi Live Weather and, of course, our game of the week. I had to step outside in the weather here for just a moment, showcase a little bit of rainfall. And if folks are hoping for more than that as we go throughout the next couple of days, maybe something wintry, maybe these guys hoping for that. That's not going to be the case. Hey, y'all doing all right? Y'all going to win tonight? Maybe. We'll see. Certainly, and that's one of the things our Ethan Foster already in there getting ready to get those highlights going for our Mississippi Live Game of the Week. But headlines as we go throughout today, again, I'll flip it to the other side there. Again, our forecast, 100% chance of basketball. And also, of course, we do continue to have some of that rainfall out there as well. We'll be tracking that in more detail here in just a minute. Raining threes and raining rain. Oh, no, we've allowed Gabe to have the keyboard here doing all of the things. Oh, pump fake. I knew you'd do three, wouldn't you? Don't fall for the snowy pump fake. I don't know if anybody will, considering things have certainly gone the other direction there. Maybe you could say Mother Nature getting a foul on the play on this one. And we'll look in more detail coming up at that forecast again for your weekend here in just a minute. But as we reference again, we're at our Mississippi Live Game of the Week. And as we go throughout the first 12 hours here and I head inside, those temperatures come in at around 51 degrees at 7 p.m., 44 as we look toward 10, and going about 38 by 1 o'clock in the morning, 33, as you'll note there, by early tomorrow morning, somewhere in the lower 30s there. We're in the gymnasium here in our Game of the Week. You can see the introduction of players going on behind me. So you may or may not be able to hear me as part of that. So it is going to be Tishomingo County taking on North Pontotoc. And we'll dig into some of the details of this game come up here in the second block of this show. But they're jazzed up. And I am too, because this is the first time ever in North Mississippi sports history that the girls are the game of the week. And we're excited to be here to feature that here at North Pontotoc High School to make that history. Temperature outside coming in around 54 degrees or so at this instant. Our winds remain out of really no direction as they are fairly calm despite this front having kicked into and through the area there. Those temperatures, again, not warm, are 48 at this instant up there for South Haven. Here in Pontotoc County, about 55 degrees at the gymnasium here, 54 back in Tupelo, and 59 there in the Amory area. Wind chills coming in about 47. There's a little bit of wind chill behind this. The winds definitely kick up an extra notch or two. Tip-off coming here in just a second. So I'm going to try to move a little farther off the court so I don't mess that up for anybody here. We'll actually show you a little bit of the game live, but we're not going to carry the whole game live. Our Ethan Foster will have those highlights coming up at 10 o'clock for you here on Mississippi Live Weather then. So Mississippi Live, Mama Justice Doppler radar showing again some of those showers out there. They're all fairly light, albeit somewhat widespread. We kind of look at the rainfall amounts on this here. I'm going to kind of scoot this over and change it to kind of the rainfall rate. And the thing that you'll immediately notice on there is the rainfall rate is not particularly high. Again, we have some out there, but you can see at the top, this is primarily light rainfall. And for whatever reason, this thing just keeps deciding it wants to adjust off kilter. So I'll see if I can kind of hold it on the shot here for a moment. I think it's probably everybody going past me. It's like, wait a second, nobody's paying attention back there to that. Okay, I apologize about that there. Okay, so going on the wider shot here, looking at our surface map, again, I think one of the big headlines is behind this, we do have a lot of cooler air, and that cooler air is the big story going forward for the next couple of days. So Futurecast, again, does have showers, maybe even some rumbles around the Golden Triangle as this rolls through. But this is our single solitary rain chance. We look at a wider shot here. There is really nothing else behind this other than cooler temperatures. And yeah, you can see some snowfall with this for locations back up to the north and west. But that all changes over as it gets closer, because while it is colder behind this, it's not a dramatic drop in temperatures initially. And that brown line actually represents the coldest of cold air that comes in behind this. And it waits a little while longer to get here. Not going to necessarily be in time to have a big cold air impact this time around. So the showers down south, closer to the coast, that's where that chance for maybe, and honestly even there, I think a couple flakes probably overdone in that description. As you can see, we're still fairly mild, albeit still, below freezing for tomorrow morning. 31, that's a pretty mild way to start the day. And because we're still mild to begin the day, any chance for anything other than rainfall just is not going to happen. So, again, coming up here in 60 seconds, we will have a breakdown of the game, and we'll actually get to more weather. That's what a meteorologist Gabe Maynard is doing, where he can think because the crowd isn't screaming as loud. We're here at North Pontotoc High School. It's the girls of North Pontotoc, the Vikings, taking on Tishomingo County. We are going to have the latest on that coming up in 60 seconds. The Mississippi Live weather continues here from our Mississippi Live Game of the Week, presented by the good folks at Casey Law. We're just so thankful again to be partnering with them for our Game of the Week once again this basketball season. We'll see you in 60.
Out with the old and in with the new. It's time to save big at Room to Room's New Year's sale. Store-wide markdowns 50 to 70% off. No tax. 48-month special financing. It's a new year at Room to Room Furniture in Tupelo. There's no place like home.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
This portion of Mississippi Live weather is presented by Little's Jewelers.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lovehon.
We're at the first time out of our Mississippi Live Game of the Week. Our Ethan Foster, the one who actually knows how to talk about sports, back there behind me. He's shooting highlights of the game that got going a minute ago. You might be able to see above my shoulder there. It's already 10-0 in favor of the visiting team from Tishomingo County, the team that is expected to win this game, the undefeated team. But again, we're excited to be able to actually feature the girls here. I'm going to try to see if I can get a shot where I don't disrupt absolutely everybody's opportunity to see the game. We'll probably show a little bit of this live perhaps coming up in a minute. But again, big game here in 4A. Tish County 18-2 overall, but undefeated in district play at 5-0 there. And obviously, a powerhouse this year. Meg Moore, 22.2 points per game, which is just incredible. And as a sophomore already being recruited by Division I schools, certainly a big impact on this game. Of course, the home team, the North Pontotoc here, excited, and has struggled a little bit in their first game earlier this year, but with home court advantage, hoping to turn things around for tonight. And we're excited to see how that plays out. So we will have full highlights here at our Mississippi Live Game of the Week, presented by the folks at Langston and Lott and Casey Lott, coming up here during our 10 o'clock broadcast. And Gabe, as I try to get out of the way of this, I'll probably flip the camera around when you come back to me a little bit later on during the third block of the show. See, I'm totally blocking someone's view, even though I'm here by a beam in the corner. So I'm going to send it back to you in the studio, but I'll try to get you a few shots actually of the game when you come back here in a few minutes. Live in near the Ecru area at North Pontotoc High School, I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lovehon from Mississippi Live.
Well, Matt, thank you for, of course, providing that shot out there. We're working to get the forecast up here behind the scenes, so bear with me for one moment. But we are, of course, excited to be out there in Ecru for our Mississippi Live Game of the Week. Of course, North Pontotoc Vikings taking on the Tishomingo County Braves. Should be a good matchup, but Tisch County definitely a force to be reckoned with. It will be a great forecast with a little bit of those soggy conditions. 53 degrees with that 30% chance of rainfall. Those 30% values stick around into halftime, and even by that final buzzer, I think 20% might be underdoing it, might need to climb that just a bit as those showers work their way on through. 48 degrees as we wrap up the game. Not as cold as things have been, so there is a positive note to our forecast as we get into our Friday night. But as we track those conditions right now, of course, here's a look at what's happening in Pontotoc. A little bit hard to see, but you can see on our radar imagery on the bottom left, yeah, it's a soggy night there in Pontotoc County, no matter where you're at, whether you're in Ecru or in South Pontotoc down there in the Springville area. 55 degrees still with those winds out of the northwest, 5 miles an hour. It will provide a chill later on tonight, but as of right now, how mild things are, that's honestly a pretty good forecast, a pretty good addition to those mild temperatures. Batesville, Panola County, 50 degrees, and they are in the heart of the showers as well, as you can see with our radar imagery. So it is a soggier night, but those showers remaining very light. Not expecting anything too significant, and even those rainfall amounts, we'll track it here in just a moment, not going to amount to too much either. Cleveland, 55 degrees, a little bit south of that moisture. You can almost see that cloud cover right there in the distance. And of course, those winds still out of the northwest. You can see the American flag blowing in that northwest to southeast direction. You can notice that because we used the same camera last night and it was blowing the complete opposite way. So that shift in the weather pattern is happening, and that's going to be what we can expect behind the front is some drier and cooler conditions. Our mom adjusted Doppler radar tracking those showers right now, and as Matt mentioned a moment ago, rainfall rates not overly high on this system. As we look at some of those rates, I'm going to have to pull this up here real quick. Let's see if it will abide. You know what? We'll have to look at it here a little bit later. Either way, it is going to be a soggy night. And as we look out of our Monroe County radar site, still seeing some of those moderate showers. We'll look at accumulations here in just a moment. But you can also get a visual on what's happening out west whenever we look at our Memphis radar site. And a little bit more of those heavy downpours down close to Hernando and West Helena working their way into eastern Arkansas. But all of those continuing to work in that southeast direction. And we'll be experiencing that throughout the night here in North Mississippi. All right, here was what I was trying to pull up a moment ago, some of those rainfall amounts. And along that leading edge, this is going to be out of our Memphis radar site. You can see that we're talking a few hundredths of an inch already starting to accumulate there in Oxford, close to New Albany, even down around Pontotoc, just a couple hundredths. So all of that rain that Matt was talking about, it's these tiny drops that will amount to very little. But I'm curious for folks at home, if you have any rainfall pictures, any pictures of those rain gauges, we would love to air those on Mississippi Live Weather. So go ahead and send that to us through the Submit Your Pictures tab on our app. Our rain chance hour by hour, continue to see those chances increase. 7 p.m. should be at 30% as well. And those 30% stick around into 8 and 9 o'clock this evening, 20% by 10 and 11, and gradually drying up as we get into those overnight hours, leaving us with a dry and cool forecast by Saturday morning. So futurecast tonight, as you can see, those showers gradually working their way on through by 7 o'clock. So don't let that zero fool you. It is still about 30% coverage. Heavier downpours down there towards Golden Triangle, Louisville, Kosciuszko, even around Webster and Choctaw County. Those showers working their way east, and you see these reds popping up. Now those reds, not really going to be in tune with thunderstorms, but they will be in tune with some heavier rainfall. And that's what we expect down south and east. And I'm curious by 10 o'clock, how much of those accumulating totals are we talking about? Because I definitely expect it to be a little bit more significant. Golden Triangle and even for parts south there in Winston and Noxubee County. That line working its way on through this frontal boundary, clearing on out and leaving us with those dry and cold conditions on the back end of this system. I knew it was coming. I thought I could get away from it. I apologize. Working our way into Saturday morning, you can see that dry conditions do continue. And as we get into our Saturday morning, man, that woke me up. Saturday morning is going to be dry and it is going to be cold. And those temperatures as we head out the door, if you're heading out the door at 6 a.m., going to be close to those freezing margins. But overnight, the rainfall will clear out before those cold conditions work over the top of us. So no winter precip is expected. As Matt talked about, it's a winter pump fake. No winter precip is expected in this forecast. We do see up to 1/10 of an inch in some spots of Chickasaw and Lee County. And working our way southeast, you can see that green stripe. That's going to be closer to 1/2 inch with 3/10 of an inch down towards Noxubee County. So more significant the further south and east you go. And working into our Saturday forecast, those accumulating totals continue to climb into Birmingham and into Atlanta as that front shifts on through. But as we keep our forecast moving into our extended forecast, of course, it is going to be a much drier pattern, but also a much colder pattern. Low temperature Saturday, we're talking low 30s, Oxford, Holly Springs, and New Albany, 28 Bruce, 29 Water Valley, 33 Greenwood and Belzona. We are seeing 34 Macon and 35 towards Aliceville and Gordo, Alabama. So let's keep that moving with Futurecast into our Saturday. And like we talked about at 5 o'clock, I'm going to expand it out one more time because, of course, all the action is happening towards our south and east. As we get into our Saturday morning, you can see some cloud cover does try to filter into North Mississippi. Maybe a sprinkle, not impossible, but by then we're already too warm for any winter precip to take place. So all of that winter moisture going to be further south and east right along that cold front into southern Alabama and southern Georgia. But that moisture continues to build into the southern parts of those Gulf Coast regions and some of the heavier sections down there towards Tallahassee, Florida. We're still left with some dry conditions here in North Mississippi. Bringing it back here to our home view for just a moment, I do want to note there is a weak forcing mechanism, one of those weaker cold fronts that's pushing in behind it, bringing in much colder air, even colder than where our Saturday will sit, but also the chance at a few sprinkles. But by noontime, we're just too warm. So all of that moisture will melt before it reaches the ground, and that's where we're going to get some of those light showers to take place once again. Those showers will clear out pretty quickly once they enter into North Mississippi, and then we're going to be left with those breezy conditions on the backside, as well as that drier forecast. So as we wrap up our Saturday, going to be ending on a high note, or should I say a low note, as those temperatures drop into those overnight hours. When we talk about high temperatures on Saturday, they will climb to a little bit warmer temperatures. Not going to be as warm as today, but warmer than our Saturday morning. 47 Bruce, Grenada, Greenwood, 49 Eupora, Starkville, and Houston. And we're seeing 49 Aliceville and Vernon, Alabama. Up north, 44 in Boonville, 43 Corinth, and 41 Southaven. It's going to be cooler, not cold enough for any winter precipitation to take place. So we are staying once again on the drier side and a little bit above that freezing threshold. But overnight, you can see that front fully clears the area, both of them, and that drives our moisture further south. A lot of showers happening in Montgomery, Alabama, even down around New Orleans and all the way up north and east into Atlanta. Now watch this line as we head overnight. So this is 8 p.m. We get into 10 o'clock, still seeing just primarily moderate showers, but as we get more into those overnight hours, those temperatures start to drop. We're already getting some flakes up around the mountains there in North Carolina and Tennessee, but then this swath of moisture starts to form from Montgomery, even to parts of New Orleans, Mobile, even for parts of just outside of Panama City. Our folks at Panhandle Weather are going to be watching that one closely to see if any of these are to produce, any of these stay flakes all the way to the ground. It's still the golden question with this forecast, but up around Atlanta, even into North Carolina and South Carolina, do expect it to be cold enough for those winter first snow chances to take place. Low temperatures on Sunday. It's going to be cold. It's going to be teens for some of us. Oxford, Water Valley, Senatobia, and Holly Springs, even around Corinth and Boonville, 19 degrees, 20 New Albany, Houston, and Eupora, 20 around Red Bay, and we're seeing 21 Tupelo, Greenwood, and Clarksville. So a cold forecast to start our Sunday. Have those layers ready. I'm probably going to have about 3 or 4 layers walking in the church door. So yeah, be like me and stay warm. Stay as warm as you can at least. Our Futurecast on Sunday carries all of that moisture further towards our south and east, and all of these snow chances down in southern Alabama working their way east as well. So if you know anyone that's driving down there, yes, there will be the chance at a few of those flakes, maybe even a light accumulating total, but that's all out south and east of us here in North Mississippi. A lot of folks have asked, are we getting snowfall? No. The big NO. Not going to be happening here in the northern half of the Magnolia State, so we are staying dry, but it is still going to be a cold forecast. By 3 p.m. Sunday, all of that moisture up the Atlantic coast, and we're left with those breezy conditions out of the west, southwest for the latter part of our Sunday. And then as we work into those overnight hours, you can see another front trying to swing on through, and not going to bring any winter chances except for the winter temperatures. And those temperatures will drop once again as we get into our Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So high temperatures Sunday, already cold, dropping once more heading into the start of the week. 38 is where we sit in Tupelo Sunday afternoon, 37 Oxford, Holly Springs, and New Albany, 41 Grenada, 41 Eupora, and 42 Belzona and Kosciuszko. If this wasn't a dry forecast and we did have moisture, then these temperatures would be better lined up. But by the time our temperatures get cold enough, all of the moisture is out away from North Mississippi. So that's why snow chances non-existent, and all those chances still remain off there towards our south and east. Low temperatures over the next 7 days, low 20s for Sunday morning, mid-20s Monday morning, and dropping into the teens Tuesday morning. By the time we get into Wednesday, mid-20s, and then a more seasonable forecast by the latter part of next week. But those do line up with some rain chances that we'll track in just a moment. Let's first look at high temperatures, and as you can see, Sunday, we tracked it a moment ago, going to be a cold forecast and will remain cold for Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, more seasonable, and those temperatures gradually warming up by the time we get into Friday. Our 7-day forecast highlights that cold forecast for the next several days with mid-20s Monday morning and upper teens by Tuesday. Yeah, so is it cold enough for you yet? Well, if not, cold weather's coming. But by Wednesday and Thursday, moisture moves into the forecast and a little bit of those warmer temperatures. Not going to be warm by any means, but warmer than where we'll sit for the start of the week. So excited about that, excited about getting some of that rainfall that we still need here in North Mississippi. Again, we'll take any chance that we can get to accommodate for those drought conditions. But where it's raining in the sky, it's also raining threes, as Matt was mentioning at the top of the broadcast. Love me some good puns, and I was glad that Matt added one in there. The foul. Chef's kiss, that was a good one. So we're going to add that to next week, so I'm writing it down. But speaking of Matt, we're going to cut to him coming up in the next 60 seconds for the latest on those highlights, where things stand in the game, and of course, we'll have those full highlights coming up at 10. We're also going to check that snowy pump fake coming up in the next 60, breaking down that forecast in more detail live from the Room to Room Weather Center here in the next 60.
When you've been injured, don't settle for a lawyer who doesn't even know where you live. Call Langston and Lott. Local lawyers, personal service, real results.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut, the one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink, or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking, now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed, better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead, catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Okay, so we're back here at our Mississippi Live Game of the Week presented by the folks at Langston Lott and Casey Lott here. So far, it has been largely one-sided with Tishomingo County up 25-5. 27-5. Been one of those days so far here for the Vikings in North Pontotoc. Our Ethan Foster, who's helping us out with sports here, it's been a rough one so far for one side, but the superstars have shown up, right?
For the other side, Matt, absolutely. 1 minute left to go here in the first period. For one, it's 27-5, and our Tishomingo County head coach, forgive me, I don't know his name at the moment, but he reminds me a lot of Nick Saban when he was up like by 25 points, and you would have thought he was losing the national title game. That's the intensity you got to have a program like that. With less than a minute to go here in the first period, Tisch County up 27-5 right now. As expected, with Meg Moore getting the ball in the center there, she's going to put that up. Look at that inside game. I love an inside jumper. That's Meg Moore right there, number 24. As we said, one of the best shooters in the state. Max Prep said she was the best player in the state coming into this basketball season. The Vikings have just not been able to get anything going. You see a foul there on Tisch County, I believe. But again, the Vikings, they got their first points on a free throw very late into the first period. They're lining up for a free throw here. 25 seconds to go in this first period. But again, as we've said, and you've heard me say a few times, Tisch County just dominating this game right now. 5 fouls for both teams right now. But again, Tisch County has more than just Meg Moore. They have really kind of a three-headed spear. You see number 11 in the back there.
Is that a Braves? Is that a Braves reference? With
maybe it is a Braves reference without me even realizing it. And look, there's number 11 getting inside there.
That's a good move.
You know what they call her?
Like, that's a good move.
That's lightning. We just learned from the fans.
Lightning strikes.
And look, he stole it again to number 2. And that's another one right before the first period ends.
Again,
now it's 33-5. Again, the defense, I told you this earlier, this Tisch County defense is absolutely swarming. They can't get the three-point ball to go. So Tisch County's very, very comfortably in the lead right now at the end of the first period, 33-5. The highlights will reflect that, but again, a lot of basketball left to go. What will North Pontotoc do to keep in this game
and respond?
Yes, absolutely. You got to respond. You can't let this get you down this early in the game because you got to play to the final whistle.
There are a lot of people that have had outcomes like this against Tisch-Mingo County this year. So
absolutely, yes, exactly. You come into this game, this is kind of expected, but that's not an excuse to not come out and play, right?
Well, and I would say it seems like North has come out to play. It's just there are some moves there that, regardless of gender, would translate and be effective.
Well, as we were talking about, I mean, literally the end of the first period there, you saw about 3 turnovers on the opposite side of the court that resulted in layups, inside jumpers, goals. And again, when you're facing a swarming defense like that against a team that has players averaging over 17, 22 points a game, it's hard to compete with that, and they're feeling that right now.
They are feeling that right now. And so it's warm here in the gymnasium. Our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor, again, back there in the studio. One of the things we've talked about, Gabe, through the week, of course, is that chance for snowfall. As we've talked about, that's kind of gone away. I know that's one of the things you're going to be addressing here, as well as related to this game of the week, of course, the cheer squad, spirit squad, and the student section of the week. Wonder how voting is going on that. Gabe, let's take a look and we can come back here for a second, because I know that's something you've got going up there.
Yes, Matt, exactly. And I wanted to start with that vote because I know it's a little bit one-sided, but there's still a chance that North Pontotoc can take home one of the victories. I mean, last week, Corinth swept all 3, and so we don't want sweeps here. We want a competitive battle. And as of right now, if we're looking at that student section, we're talking 200, actually, I might need to refresh it here real quick. Let me go ahead and refresh it, and I'll have to scroll down for a brief moment, so bear with me. But I want to make sure we have that final tally there. And, big thank you to everybody there in North Pontotoc for having us out. Big thank you to the folks at Langston a lot for having us out as well. As you can see behind me, the reason why we're scrolling through Facebook is because that's actually where the votes can be submitted. And we posted this yesterday around 10 a.m. and the votes have been flooding in. 229 votes in place for the North Pontotoc Spirit section. And as we take a look at Tishomingo County, 420. So unless something significant happens here in the next 5 minutes or so, I think that the Blue Crew is coming home with this victory. And not only in the Spirit Squad, it was a pretty one-sided vote in this one as well when it came to this cheer squads. 164 there for the Vikings. And as we take a look at Tishomingo County, 623. So things are not looking that good for North Pontotoc, but there is still time, very minimal time, but time nonetheless. We'll look at this final tally coming up here in just a moment. I'm going to jump back over there towards the wall, so join me over there as we transition this to more of a snowy pattern. And I say transition this into a snowy pattern, and it's purple. Let me go ahead and change this over real quick. And I'm talking about snowy pattern, not for us here in North Mississippi. I'm sorry, there's a lot of disappointment in that last 10 seconds. But as we look at our Mama Justice Doppler radar, not tracking any snowfall on our forecast, and a lot of folks asking, is the rain going to be gone before the temperatures drop? Yes. The reason why temperatures are able to drop so much is because all of this moisture is out of the forecast. So that front pushing this moisture south and east and still giving us some light showers, but no snow showers in that forecast. In order to see that, we have to expand things north, and there you're getting some of those snow showers in Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, even around Illinois. But that freezing point, it's just on the south side of Missouri, but even then it's on the midpoint of Illinois. So snowfall totals, if we look at those over the past 24 hours, seeing some significant amounts, and significant amounts being a relative term, only about an inch there in Springfield, a few tenths of an inch developing there in Indiana, Ohio, up there towards the northeast, and Missouri and Nebraska. But of course, we look in in the southern part of the area in North Mississippi, no snowflakes have been detected. It's all been rainfall. And the reason why is those temperatures. Again, we look at that rain. It's pretty significant. Bowling Green, south and west into Tupelo, Mississippi, and that continues to build across the Magnolia State as we get into those overnight hours. But if we compare this to temperatures, look at the difference. 54 in Tupelo, well, it's 28 in northern Missouri. 28 degrees, that supports snow. 54 degrees, that supports rain. And that's being seen all across the Mid-South, even into the Southeast. So any freezing or frozen precipitation it's not really expected tonight, at least not here in the southeast. We're continuing to enjoy those warm temperatures, keeping it just a rainy forecast. All right, one of the features that we had on Mississippi Live Weather exclusively is our snow finder. And what this does is it takes any of those chances at any winter accumulation, or winter precip, should I say, not accumulation, but just some of that snowy precipitation. And then it accommodates some of those totals as well. So two things that we're looking at here real quick, and you're seeing those accumulating totals right there, that little hue of blue on the backside of that green. We'll see that more once all of these chances clear on out, but we're going to take it through your entire weekend. Saturday around lunch, you can see that all of those chances remain well up there towards the north, but those chances still not overly high. Where we're expecting those higher chances, that's going to be up there towards the northeast. You see those purples and reds that are forming? The purple is 90% or more. And then the reds, that's 70% or more. That's way more significant than where things stand, even in Kentucky and Tennessee. Those only around 10 to 20%. Well, North Mississippi, it's non-existent. Let's keep this moving into our Saturday night. And as you can see, Saturday afternoon, still going to be those not dry, but non-snowy conditions. And that carries over into 6 p.m. as well. But as we get into those nighttime hours, you can see that there's no chance here in North Mississippi, but some of those 10% chances starting to pick up there towards New Orleans, as well as Mobile and up there towards Atlanta. This line that we've been talking about, that's really been the best chance for any of that snowy precipitation to take place. As we get into our Sunday morning, midnight to be exact, those chances start to increase once again, rising to about 20 to potentially even 30% where those brighter greens are being held. So again, this swath is what we're watching right here for any of those snowflakes to start to fall, and even into our Sunday morning, they'll start to become a bit more significant, southern Alabama and southern Georgia. So folks over there in Dothan, Alabama, yeah, they have a better chance at snowfall than us here in North Mississippi. And even around Atlanta and southern parts of Georgia, up there towards Savannah as well, going to be getting some of that winter precipitation that goes up the Atlantic coast, still never reaching North Mississippi, but a few flakes down there close to Gulfport, not really expected, but can't fully be ruled out. We do expect those accumulating totals to be primarily Georgia and Alabama for as far south as that'll go. But we're keeping eyes on this as we work into that forecast, but just not looking good for North Mississippi. If we look at those accumulating amounts right there on the top of your screen, those lighter blues that are showing up, lining up with this polygon right there. And again, it's not going to be significant. We're talking beneath an inch, so it's not going to be anything too significant. Remember the coast snow event last year? I believe it was just a couple days ago, the anniversary of it, and that was the more significant snowfall. It's just not going to be the case for us this year, and I think a lot of folks are happy about that because you go south to escape the snow, not get more of it. And this continues into our Sunday night and into our Monday as well, but again, not tracking any of that winter or that snowfall into the start of our forecast. Going to be a very dry pattern once these showers clear on out. 8 p.m. 30%, 10 p.m. 20%, and even by midnight there, we're dry, 40 degrees, and allowing for those temperatures to cool off overnight. I'm taking a look at the chat. Yeah, no significant snow in South Mississippi. Kelly, you say that's sad. I guess your team's snow in this circumstance, but I know a lot of folks in southern Mississippi, they moved south for a reason. That's why my parents did. They were sick of shoveling the driveway up in Des Moines and said, we're going to Birmingham, Alabama. So we went down there and had on average, one snow event a year, but it was nothing like Des Moines. So yeah, it's unfortunate or fortunate, depending on how you look at it. But we are going to go back to Matt live in the field, talking about what's happening there on the hardwood in Ecru and where things stand as of this point. But I know it's been a one-sided battle so far. Matt, what do you have for us?
Yeah, we're here again in our Mississippi Live Game of the Week presented by the folks there, Langston Lott and Casey Lott, and Meg Moore and folks, her entire crew with Tishomingo County, just putting on a clinic here. Now, in the last couple of minutes, the folks at North Pontotoc, the ladies have started doing a little bit better, but score coming in at 10 to 42 as of right now. Our Ethan Foster out there shooting his highlights. But North is starting to get a little bit more on track. That is, honestly, in the last couple minutes here, they have scored more often than Tishomingo County has. So a little bit of a run as they've gotten some open shots, some fairly uncontested threes, but Tishomingo County doing the same at this point as well. Again, number 24 there, you can see coming down the court, Meg Moore, one of the top high school athletes in the state and one of the top high school girls being recruited by Ole Miss and numerous other SEC basketball programs. Only a sophomore, and she has hit some great shots so far this evening. But as you can see there, The ladies from North Pontotoc are not going quietly this evening. Score coming in at 13-45. Again, we will have complete game highlights from our Ethan Foster coming up on Mississippi Live at 10 p.m. And you can check out the latest there. Our Spirit Squad, as well as a student section of the week. We think those are both probably going to go in Tishomingo County. We'll see the final total on that at 10 o'clock as well. And again, you can watch us any day from Monday through Friday at 6:30, 7:30 a.m., and then 5, 6, and 10 p.m. I'll send it back to Gabe there in the studio. But from our Mississippi Live Game of the Week presented by Casey Law, I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon, as Tishomingo County at this point trying to run away with a victory. 2:19 left in the first half. We'll send it back to Gabe.
Well, Matt, thank you. I do want to say, shout out North Pontotoc, taking the 1v3 break right there and getting the foul. Bold move, but it pays off and get some points on the board as well. Excited to see those highlights coming up at 10 o'clock and those final tallies. I gave you guys a little sneak peek of it, and you might know who came out on top, but we'll see all of those highlights, the game highlights, the Spirit Squad, and the Cheer Squad, all coming up tonight at 10. Make sure to keep it here for the very latest. Download that Mississippi Live Weather app if you have not already done so. And yes, Pat, I agree. Good luck to both teams. So if everyone out there, just have a fun time, stay safe, don't get injured. That's the Mainer way of life right there, is do not get injured. That's always the goal at the end of the game. iOS and Android, download those that Mississippi Live Weather app today. And again, a big thank you to everyone who has done that so far and just supporting us here on Mississippi Live Weather. Matt's posted about it. I've posted about it. It's a very significant day to us in regards to it is the anniversary of. And so being able to be here at Mississippi Live Weather just means so much to us, and you guys here in North Mississippi are such an incredible community to be a part of. We're not going anytime soon. If as long as you guys want us here, this is home to us, and we cannot ask for a better community. So again, thank you everybody for what you've been able to do for us here at Mississippi Live Weather, and excited for the many, many, many years to come of giving you guys your forecast and, hey, a little bit of highlights along the way. Our next broadcast at 10 o'clock tonight, have those highlights in more detail. Our Ethan Foster getting that for us, and cannot wait to see what he has whenever we assess those, coming up tonight at 10. And yes, Pat, gabbing with Gabe at 10. We like to talk a little bit extra at the end of the broadcast, and trust me, I'll be doing that yet again. It's a specialty. What can I say? God bless me with the gift of gab, and gabbing with Gabe will be in full effect at 10. We'll see you guys there with those highlights. And again, thank you so much for supporting us.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious. When he began to discover weather, Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.